So with our lovely little Miss Bella, she and Winston actually were just out a little bit ago, and they did get to meet and greet, and they had some really nice play. So I'll be sending you guys some of those videos as well with the babes practicing some of their social WrestleMania. They both played real nice, where they were both doing like kind of keep away, which is like a chase me game. So they weren't necessarily doing more mouthy sort of play. Some puppies like to do, as I call, gladiator play, where they will use their upper bodies, they'll use their paws, they'll use their mouths, and they tend to rumble with their full spectrum of their body. Keep away tends to be more like play bow, frolic, running around, and then having the pups take turns chasing each other. Ready? Nice job, Miss B. Good check-in. So she's a little bit winded because she and Mr. W were running around the whole area out here. So that's why she's kind of panting heavy. So and chewing is optional. So for our little lady, I wanted to work a little bit with some puppy push-ups. So puppy push-ups are starting to work on your sits, downs, and also when you're working on a stand or an up position. So stand or up are the same thing. It just depends on what slogan you would like to use. That just means that your puppies are going to go from a lying down or a sitting position into a stand. So let's say, for example, we're going to have our little Miss B over here. We're going to get her attention. So typically in the beginning, you're going to lure with your food into the behavior and then go yes and feed for that. If they're doing really well, you can start to, again, you want to empty out that hand. Ebba's over there hanging out with Mr. W. Nice job. Hi, Ebba. So with our little lady, if in the beginning the food is creating the behavior, remember how we want to fade out the lure as quickly as we can. So Bella, yes, nice little name recognition. And then, hey, Ebba, can you get off the door though, because it's jiggling a little bit? Thank you. So ready? Bella, come. Yes. So again, still really great real world distractions. We have my little one sometimes hanging out with one of the other babes and doing some other things with them. Yes. So if you're not as capable of, for example, in the beginning, always saying your cue word, I would recommend, a lot of times we tend to repeat ourselves as the puppies don't know what you're asking, verbally especially. So I like to, in the beginning, get my puppies to follow the lure and figure out their body position first before I start to throw in the words. So if, let's say, for example, ready? We'll see if we can get her attention. She is so tired. What a good girl. So I'm just getting her focused back on me. I'm going to see if I can go ahead, grab a couple little stinkier snacks. Ready? So I'm going to get her attention. So in the beginning, my food is going to, for example, lure her into a sit and then yes to feed. If you're about 80 to 90% certain that they're going to go into the position, then you can go ahead and ask for the word of the position you were hoping for, like the sitting, and then see if you can get it from them. So from here, I'm going to see if I can take my food. I'm going to lure her to the ground and get a lovely little down. I know that you guys had mentioned that you've been already starting to work on some of these puppy push-ups. If, for example, your puppy gets up from the position before you were able to reinforce, no big deal. Try to get the behavior once again. So ready, Bella? Yes, good girl. So great little name recognition away from her friends. Nice. So let's say you're trying to go for that down. You can also try getting your, oh, she's like, let's just wrestle. You can also try, for example, getting your puppy to go into a down position. So I'm just going to move her away again to grab the snack from a standstill. So let's say she's standing. You can sometimes lower the food right between her feet. See if, again, she'll lower her body, beautiful, into a little down position, and you can feed a couple little crumbs for that behavior. So for the stand or the up, you would, for example, I tend to like to have a couple snacks in my hand. I'm going to gain that little sit, go yes and feed for that behavior. Then from here, I'm going to pull her forward into a stand position. So stand just means to get your puppy onto all 4 feet again. Every once in a while, you'll see that I also throw in a couple little find its. It's just so I can get her to move around, get up and reset her. So if, let's say we got a gorgeous sit, I normally like to feed for when the puppy's in the position, but let's say we wanted another sit, you could offer a little find it, get her back up, and then you could try again for another sit. So ready? Oh my goodness, chewing is so hard. Ready? Sit. Yes, and then feed. Gorgeous. So let's say we're going to, again, try for a little stand. Good girl. Very nice. So puppy push-ups, I would recommend feed for each individual skill. Make sure that if in the beginning you are luring the puppy into the position, you want to fade out that lure. So if, for example, the food is always presented first, and then the next time you do it is with no food, she won't understand it's the same setup. So I'd highly recommend to fade out the lure, which is the food typically presented first, to the food is given right as she then does the behavior or accomplishes the skill. What is it, Ebba? Oh, he's jumping up to say hello. Yes. So with our little lady, obviously working sometimes through these little positive interrupters. So you'll see I'll sometimes use the kissy noise. I'll sometimes use a little bit with her name recognition. And then at other times, I might even do her name in a recall. So you may find it beneficial to sometimes just rotate through a couple easy skills so it stays a little bit more intriguing for the puppy. If we only did sits the whole time, your puppy might get a little bit stagnant from that. And I like to make sure that the puppies are also feeling like they're engaged, nice down, and that they're having an okay time figuring out the puzzles, right? Their stand, beautiful. So puppy push-ups, definitely a great one. And you will want to go ahead and rotate through the 3. So if you tend to always do sit, down, stand, try to rotate through the 3 options and that you don't have the same pattern. If you find it's easier, work just sits for a little bit, take a little break, work a few other skills, and go back to downs for a little bit, whatever works. So, but if too, let's say she's doing a really great job with those puppy push-ups, you could start to also build in a little bit more duration. Like let's say, I know Mr. Z was earlier on his target bed working those stays. You could start to build in a bit with that stationary sitter down and feed several little snacks while they're vegging as well. Bella says, I would really love to join the party. Nice job, cuteness. So beautiful little kissy noise and checking in. The other option too is, let's say, for example, she starts to do some pop-in, just ignore. Try to always bring it back to the thing you'd rather. So I might do a little find it, get her up and moving. And then from there, again, hopefully it didn't just fall in the crack. Bella, come. And work a little bit with those recalls again. Two, if your puppy is taking your food a bit hard, that tends to either mean she's overwhelmed or overtired, or that the food is so exciting she's almost not realizing how to use her little mouth and where your food starts and your hand begins. So Bella says, I need to join this party over here. Huh, Bella? Bella's like, hi there. Ready? Bella. Bella says, I would like to join the other folks. Nice job, cuteness. So with Miss B, obviously we're going to work on a few other skills as well. But if, let's say, your puppy is having a hard time with how they're taking that food, ready, Belle? What I like to do, ready, cuteness? I'll come show you. Is let's say, for example, your puppy has been taking the food out of your fingertips by mistake. And let's say now in the same time, they're also nibbling your hands. What I like to do is either feed, but as long as you don't lose your snack because she's got slimy moments right here, nice, is feed flat palm as if she was, livestock. So in the beginning, if you're finding it's really difficult for her to distinguish where your hand in the treat begins, flat palm is much better because it involves none of the mouthing on your fingers as she's figuring it out. So again, you put the food right on the lovely palm and feed that way. Nice job, cuteness. The other way too is to work a gentle or easy. So let's say, for example, your puppy, oh my gosh, chewing. Let's say your puppy's been doing a pretty good job with the palm or even feeding the floor at times too, is working a gentle or easy. I like to put the food in my hand, close it with my thumb around as well so there's no fingers sticking out. I'm going to offer this flat part of my hand here. Ready, Bella? And I'm going to see if she can go ahead and nuzzle or lick it, and then I go yes and open it up. So you could, for example, do a little bit with gentle or easy. So if she's nuzzling or using her nose or her licker and being gentle with how she's approaching the hand, then the food becomes available and you can feed for that moment. Bella. Oh, Mr. Wildman says we should wrestle. He said I liked it earlier. Ready? Bella's like, that was a bit noisy. So right here, yes, nice job. She's like, he's a wild monkey when he wants to rumble. So with your beauties, try at home a couple little tidbits at a time. If you're finding her attention span is not so great, she could be a little tired. She could be needing, again, one of those lovely little rest periods or a chew item. But always make sure to think about training as little bits you're doing throughout the day, not always necessarily a moment that you're setting up for training, because your puppy is learning the whole time while they're out and about with you. So while they're figuring things out, you can be there to help them through it. But Bella did a very nice job. We'll do a few more little skills and we'll give her a little break. Nice job, Miss B.